Welcome back to the Talking Sports podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever and wherever you are watching. We are back with another episode. How are you feeling?
Man, I feel good. I feel good. It's been what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since our last game, and so we are excited. It is Super Bowl weekend. As you may know, the Super Bowl is tomorrow as we are recording this. And so before we get into the bulk of our episode, let's recap because we had two vital games, AFC and NFC Championship, Chiefs versus the Ravens and 49ers versus the Lions. First game we'll get into is the Chiefs versus the Ravens. And my Chiefs ran away with the game. And it was really a defensive game. And
Yeah.
so just looking back at it, we saw a really, really close game. And what was your key to the game as we look back on it?
I think I think the key was definitely Chiefs defense and being able to contain Lamar Jackson. Um, yeah, I think, seeing how the game ended, um, there wasn't Lamar didn't really have much on offense. He connected a lot with Zay Flowers, which was good. But
Right.
towards the end of the game, I feel like they kind of ran out of ideas. The Chiefs defense just locked them down. So I think that was my key.
Yeah, I agree. It was really both defenses. Looking back on it, the Chiefs only scored. Um, no, the Chiefs didn't score in the second half,
Yep.
and the Ravens only scored 3 points in the second half. So both defenses really came to play, and we knew going into it that both of these defenses were going to be really good. But I honestly did not expect the lack of scoring in this game. I thought it would be, more of a high scoring game with the offenses prevailing over the defenses. But we saw, the Chiefs, they got up 10 points at the half and they really reined it in. I mean, the Ravens defense, you got to give credit to them, but you know, a lot of ball control, time of possession. The Chiefs really dominated time of possession. And we got to give a shout out to that amazing Chiefs defense. You know, even though they did give up the 3 points in the second half, that was it. And
Yeah,
if you're up 10, then you can do that. And that's really, really what happened. And we did see a honestly a perfect game of Patrick Mahomes, 30 for 39, 241 yards and a touchdown, no turnovers. And we talked about it. The keys going into those games is going to be for both teams, for
yeah,
both games, running the ball and turnover free football. And we see both games where the team with the most turnovers, they lost. And you can't have that. I think the 49ers and Lions game, I think that was a tie in turnover margin. But you know, Patrick Mahomes, perfect game. Didn't turn the ball over. Timely throws, timely runs whenever it was needed, and you can get over the hump with that and a great defense.
for sure. No, I agree. Yeah, I think the key, like you said, was definitely time of possession. That was huge. Ravens only had 22 minutes. Chiefs had 37. So yeah, you have to win there. But like we mentioned in past videos, or I had said that scoring in the second half, especially the fourth quarter, was something you had to do to win the playoff games. And the
Right.
fact that the Chiefs didn't score in the second half at all was really a shout out to their defense. But I think as well, they did everything they needed in the first half. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what the stats were at the end of the first half, but they ended up with, I mean, great stats without scoring in the second half. I mean, Kelsey had 11 receptions, a touchdown, 116 yards. Pacheco had 68 yards and a touchdown. You mentioned Mahomes already, but like they basically took care of the game after the first half, and they just said defense go do the rest. So
Yeah. And it's really difficult. We talked about running the ball, and a common theme for these games was the run game.
yeah,
And the Ravens only had 16 runs total.
mm,
That's Lamar Jackson, the running backs,
yeah,
like 16 carries total is not gonna cut it. Especially the the number one rush offense in the league, and you only amass 16 carries. Like that's not gonna cut it. So I mean, we have to give a shout out to the Chiefs defense, but you can't give up on the run.
right,
And I feel like the Ravens did that. They gave up on the run, and to be honest, they should have run Lamar more. Like I understand your scheme has changed since Todd Monken has become the offensive coordinator, but there was one first down where it was a big set. Everybody's on the line of scrimmage. You may have had one running back in the backfield, but Lamar just kept it and ran it. He got the first down and some more yards after that. That was the only time they did that. And I was like, and that was earlier in the game. And I was like, uh-oh, if they can keep doing that, then they can progress and they can actually move the ball. But they got away from it. And we saw interception by Lamar, and we lost two fumbles, one of those by Zay Flowers on the 1 yard line, which is very, very costly. But they they just they just got away from the run, and I feel like that was their detriment. Of course, shout out to the Chiefs defense, but the Chiefs dominated time of possession, and they held the Ravens to 27% on third down
mm,
and 8 penalties. You can't win a game. You can't win any game getting 27% on third downs. You have to sustain drives, and they weren't able to do that last Sunday.
yeah. I think something that's interesting about the Ravens rushing is that they, like you said, they only rushed the ball 16 times, but they had 81 yards in those 16 rushes split between everybody. So that's, I mean, if it's working, I don't know why you stop. The Chiefs had 32 rushes and had 89 yards. So that's only a few more yards than they had and half the rushes. So yeah,
Right.
I'm not happened there. I think maybe, like I said, you have these stubborn coaches and play callers who want to put the ball in the QB's hands. And we've been preaching this whole playoff season is that these running backs can carry these teams if they give them the ball. So I don't know.
Exactly. And we saw it from the Chiefs. Pacheco had 24 carries.
Yeah,
But he only had 68 yards, but they kept feeding him.
kept
They
going.
kept feeding him. And it's production from running is half of it. You have to make them respect the run. That's
Right.
why Patrick was able to only have 9 incompletions, because he 30 for 39 passing because they ran the ball so well.
Yeah.
And time of possession, running the ball, efficient passing, you know, making your third downs. That's how you sustain drives, and that's how you keep the ball out of the other offense's hands. And it seemed like that was the game plan going into it. We really have to look at the Chiefs coaching in this playoff run that they're on, because they're really doing a great job with their game plan, and game by game is something different. Against the Dolphins, they're passing a lot. People got open. Rasheed Rice, they ran it fairly well. Their defensive scheme, you know, limiting Tyreek Hill. against the Bills, allowing them to run, not allowing the deep pass. Like the game plan for the Chiefs has just been incredible. And when you have a team that's less talented, like the Chiefs is, from Chiefs teams in the past, you have to rely on your coaches to put you in position to win games, and we're seeing that. And so that is going to be very important in the Super Bowl coming up soon.
Yeah, and I think that is the key for the Chiefs. Their coaching staff is elite. It's one of the best, and they lost one of their best play callers, which is crazy. But it is one of the best. And like you said, when you're not as talented, you have to have coaches that put you in the best position to win. And the teams that have lost in this playoff run already, we've seen very questionable decision making from these coaches. So yeah, I think you make a great point there. Coaches for the Chiefs have done everything right so far. We'll see if they can do it right for one more week. So
Yep. And so that transitions us perfectly into our next game because the 49ers, they come back to beat the Lions 34-31. And we saw very questionable coaching decisions from one coach in particular, Dan Campbell, as the Lions head coach. And so this game was wild. It was crazy. And so the Lions only score 7 points in the second half. They are outscored 24-7, 27-7, sorry, 27-7 and in the second half by the 49ers. And so do you think that Dan Campbell was the reason why the Lions lost this game, or is there another factor?
it's a tough question. I'm tempted to say yes, and I know the argument against that is, that's the way he's been coaching the entire season to get
Right,
them to where they are.
right.
And I understand that, and I could say I agree with that. But at the same time, you have to know when to make the right call. And to me, the perfect example is the game against the Cowboys when they
Yeah,
lost 20-19.
right.
You go for the 2-point conversion 3 times when after 2 times you could have taken the field goal and advanced the game, right?
Right.
Um, and you lose on the failed 2-point conversion. So for me, I say yes. Now I'm not going to put it 100% on the coach, because there were some drops, from the receivers, and the pass by Goff on the last play was kind of inaccurate. Maybe he could have caught it, but either
Yeah.
way, tough situation there. So I would say maybe 90% on the coach and maybe 10% on receivers and QB there. But yeah, I think for me, you have to know when to make the right call, when to be aggressive, when to be conservative. And even if it's gotten you to where you are, even if it's worked multiple times, doesn't mean it's going to work again. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm putting most of the blame, and I'm saying, more than 90%, maybe
Yeah.
95%, because
Yeah.
it's coaching in general, because I don't know if Ben Johnson is the one that's saying go for these, or if it's Dan Campbell. I'm not exactly sure. How much power Ben Johnson has as far as making those fourth down calls,
Yeah.
but I feel like, well, number one, they stopped running the ball. And again, that's the thing. That's the theme here. And especially the first half, you dominated the 49ers running the ball.
It was
Dominated them
easy.
running the ball.
It was easy.
Easy. And when you have the game plan like you have it, you have to maintain that. Like you can't go away from that. If you go away from it, then you see what you get. And that's what happened. 21 carries in the first half, over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. All 3 of the touchdowns in the first half were from running the ball. Jameson Williams, 42-yard jet sweep. Beautifully executed. Beautifully executed. Jahmyr Gibbs. The 49ers, I don't know what their problem. They couldn't tackle. It's like they didn't want to be there.
There were holes everywhere. I mean, it was crazy.
And David Montgomery's touchdown run also. Second half, you run the ball 8 times. And yes, Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled in the second half. He didn't get a single carry after that. He's too dynamic of a player. Yes, he fumbled. Yes, it's a big spot. It's the NFC Championship game. But what are you saying about the faith that you have in your players in a big moment that he doesn't get a carry after that? It just doesn't make sense. And like you said, these offensive coordinators and these coaches putting the ball in the quarterback's hands to win the game, that's not always the best route to take, especially the way you were dominating the game in the first half. And we know the strength of the Lions. Jared Goff is a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's a good quarterback. But the strength of the team is the offensive line and the run game. You have 2 very good backs, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. You have the opportunity. Both of those guys are 2 workhorses. Both of them are 3-down backs. And the fact that you have both of them, you have to lean on them. You have to lean on them. They didn't get the carries that they needed to in the second half. And I felt like that was the reason why they lost. And so, yes, the fourth downs, you should take the points if you can. Hit the field goals, because in a game like this where you're up big, it's about maintaining that momentum. And so if we look at the second half and how it played out, the 49ers get the ball, they go down, and they get a field goal. So you stop them. You don't give up a touchdown. The next drive, the Lions, it is, let's see, third quarter on the 28-yard line of San Francisco, 4th and 2 or 4th and 3 from the 28. Kick the field goal. Like, what are you doing? Kick the field goal. Like that's easy points. And I don't want to hear about, do they trust the kicker? He's on the roster. If you didn't trust him, he shouldn't have been on the roster.
Right.
Kick the field goal, take the points. That gets you back up to 17 points. And it puts the pressure back on San Francisco to try to score again. And it's about maintaining that momentum.
And it wasn't like the field goal was 50, 60 yards. They were pretty close. It would have been a 30, 45 yarder maybe. Like that's pretty routine for kickers nowadays.
It should be. It should be. And so, the game was about momentum the whole way. The 49ers, they didn't have any momentum in the first half. And then second half, they get a field goal. Then they stop you on 4th down. Momentum, switch. Just like that. It switched completely. And then from there, it was tied in the third at the end of the third quarter. If you go back up by 17 points, they have to get 3 scores now. 3 scores, 17 points, 2 touchdowns and a field goal to even tie it. If they got the 17 points, it would still be tied at that point. But that's very difficult in a quarter and a half to try to, you know, get back up to, scoring those points and tying the game. And let's be honest, the Lions defense is not their strength.
No.
You got to
No.
keep scoring.
Yep.
You got to keep putting up points. And so I just thought that the pressure that led, not scoring and the 49ers coming back, it just intensified the moment, and they couldn't handle it. The Lions couldn't handle it at that point, and it was, as you saw, it was difficult.
Yeah. No, it was. And I think for me, the frustrating thing is just like a neutral fan is like when you see a team that's doing something that's working and they stop, you're just like,
Yeah.
why? Like, why would you do that? And David Montgomery had 15 carries, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Gibbs had 12 carries, 45 yards, and a touchdown. And then Jameson Williams had that one run. We know he's a receiver, but he looks like he played running back from how he ran. But
he might have in high school. He might have. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. No, he looked comfortable there. But for me, and this is why I don't want to put it all on the coach Campbell for the Lions, because Amon-Ra St. Brown only had 7 receptions. He had 11 targets, but only 7 receptions.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's not enough. I think it's pretty clear that he's your best player. And the amount of touches, targets, plays for him was not enough. I think I said that 2 weeks ago in the last video. I was like, you have to make sure he gets the ball. And, like you mentioned with these coaches just putting the ball in the QB's hands, like obviously they make the choice on who they throw to, who, things like that. But he need more touches, either more runs, more screens for him, something. But I guess shout out to the 49ers defense for making him, not be as productive as he could be. But I think it's pretty clear that the game plan in the first half was working for the Lions. They changed it, and ultimately they lost because of that. So,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Sam Laporta, their tight end, had a good game.
Yeah,
he had a lot of receptions. He was very good in the game, and I don't know. I just feel like the game plan should have remained the same. Now, of course, the 49ers, they can adjust. They do things to try to prevent what was happening in the first half, and so maybe that's what happened. But I still think taking those points, taking those field goals would have applied the pressure and alleviated the pressure off of you
for sure.
to maintain a lead. Like in the playoffs, points are a premium, and that was a fairly high scoring game, 34-31. Like,
yep.
If you get those field goals, then you just don't know what would have happened. And of course, hindsight is 2020. We understand that, but we don't know what would have happened if they got those field goals. But in a moment where you're going against a quarterback that he has experience, but not a lot of experience. Jared Goff's been to a Super Bowl before.
Right.
He has the experience of the playoff moment. Brock Purdy, not so much, and he struggled in the first half. So you have to maintain that pressure on him to capitalize in a moment where he's never been. Because last season he got hurt very early in the NFC Championship game, and so in a pressurized moment, you have to take advantage. You have to take points when you can get them, because points are at a premium. And if you see a team coming back, if you see momentum starting to slip, what changes that? Points.
Yep.
You got to get points, and I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like Ben Johnson and Dan Quinn were playing Madden when they weren't playing NFL. And Madden is a quarterback league, like a quarterback game.
Right.
You want the quarterback to get all the points and get all the accolades and do all those things. But they should have been playing real life football. And they just didn't hold true to what they did. And it was strange and upsetting to see. I don't like the 49ers. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I didn't want them to win.
Neither do I.
So it was upsetting, but
Yeah.
shout out to the 49ers. They pulled it out. They came back and win. And Brock Purdy did play well in that second half. He scrambled very well to escape of sacks and timely first downs, timely runs
I'm glad
when they needed it. Go ahead.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was the point I was going to make before we switch to the next segment. The third and fourth quarter from the Lions defense, letting Brock Purdy look like Lamar Jackson was unacceptable. Unacceptable. He had 5 carries for 48 yards, and his longest run was 21 yards. That's ridiculous. Brock Purdy he's a good athlete, and I think he's quicker than maybe most give him credit for, but that's unacceptable. After he runs once or twice, you got to shut that down because honestly, he kept those drives alive, like you said, getting those timely first downs, and the Lions could have gotten back on the field if they had stopped him. So I'm not sure what was going on there as well from the defense, but yeah.
Well, the Lions D is not it's not their strength again, like I mentioned before, and
Sure.
so I don't put anything on them. I think they did what they needed to do in the first half
Absolutely.
to win the game, and
Yeah.
second half that's when the big boys come to play.
Yep.
Second half, fourth quarter, clutch time moments. That's when you need your quarterback and your coach to make those right decisions, and they didn't do that. They failed to do that, and so as we see these two games, we have the Chiefs and we have the 49ers moving on to play in the Super Bowl coming up, and in a matchup or a rematch as we transition. And before we completely make that transition, I want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you think about the AFC Championship games, and how you thought those games should have gone, and like and share the video, comment, and let us know your thoughts about everything that we've discussed so far. And so, transitioning to the Super Bowl, we're going to do a preview. And so, we have Chiefs versus 49ers in a rematch of Super Bowl in 2020, where the Chiefs won 31-20. And so, here we are again. This is round 2.
Round 2, man. I said it from the beginning. I did not think the Chiefs were a Super Bowl team. I thought their offense was very friendly. They had receiver issues. Mahomes was frustrated for half the season. And while the other side, 49ers started off hot, then they got really cold, losing, 4 or 5 straight?
Yeah.
And then got back hot again once the playoffs started. So these are the 2 best teams in the league. I think everybody's comfortable saying that now. We thought it was the Ravens for a while, but I think we see that the Chiefs are superior, especially on defense. Or they at least have the better quarterback, put it that way. But I really did not think the Chiefs were going to make it. And they did. Um, Crazy. It's gonna be a crazy game.
So give us your prediction. Give us your score prediction. Who do you think is going to win? And give us a score. And give us your reasons as to why.
Oh man, I thought about this for a while. People been asking me all week, who you
Yeah.
got, Chiefs,
Yeah.
49ers. Every time I've said 49ers and I haven't really believed it. Uh,
Wow. Talk
my
about it.
my pick from the beginning of the season was 49ers Ravens. I've been on record saying that.
Yep.
Um, and I don't do this, but I'm gonna switch my pick. Now that we get to the Super Bowl,
Oh,
I'm
you
going
switched your
Chiefs.
pick. You
I'm
going
going
Chiefs.
Chiefs. I
Okay. What's your score?
score. I think it's gonna be a close one. I think it's gonna be a little bit lower scoring than the one in 2020.
Okay.
Um, I think it's gonna be 21-17 Chiefs.
21-17. Wow. Okay.
Yep. And I think for me the biggest factor is two. So I'll give you two factors. Number one, Chiefs
Okay.
defense. Chiefs
Yeah.
defense. We've said it all year. Best defense in the league in terms of stopping the other team. Maybe not in terms of yards allowed, points allowed, whatever, but stopping the other team. Chiefs have been probably the best defense. Second factor is Rashee Rice. I think
Okay. X Factor. Okay.
think he's gonna have the X factor. I think he's gonna have a similar game to the Dolphins game.
Yeah.
Um, I think they're gonna shut down Travis Kelsey, and I think Rashee Rice is gonna go off. Now, would I be surprised if the 49ers beat the Chiefs? No.
Yeah.
But the way things have been looking last 3-4 weeks, for me, I think the Chiefs are. I think they have more belief in themselves. Number one, I
Okay.
do. I do think they have the better coaching staff. I feel confident in saying that.
Yeah.
And lastly, I think they have the better head coach. They have the better QB. I think they're going to take it away.
Wow. I coming into this episode, I had full belief that it was gonna be like a you versus me type thing, and I'm picking the Chiefs and you're picking the 49ers, and we give our reasons as to why, and we have this debate thing going on. You really like that's why I reacted the way I did, because you really
Yeah.
surprised me. I really, really thought that you would pick the 49ers, and I'm not going to go off of my pick just because you picked the Chiefs.
Right.
I'm picking the Chiefs.
For sure.
I've been on the Chiefs all season long.
Yep.
That's my team, other than the Cowboys. And so my pick is the Chiefs as well. I'm gonna say a higher scoring. I'm gonna
Okay.
say 30-16. I'm
Okay.
gonna say 30-16. I think that it's the Chiefs. They have the best defense, but like you said, it's not yards. It's not like it's situational.
Yep.
And when they need a stop, they get a stop. And you see
Mm-hmm.
Chris Jones, he gets a big sack or a big fumble, or they get a pick or something when they need it. And so I got I've got the Chiefs taking it. And I've got three reasons why.
Okay.
My three reasons are, one of it is yours, best defense in the league. We have L'Jarius Sneed, the
Yep.
best corner in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He shut down Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, and whoever the Ravens' wide receivers were. We barely heard Odell's name. We barely heard Rashad Bateman's name.
I don't think I.
Um,
I don't think I heard it.
They have Devin Duvernay. We didn't hear his name. Zay Flowers, of course, we heard his name, but who forced the fumble? It was Snead with the punch at the 1 yard line.
Yep.
So he's gonna shut down Ayuk. He's gonna lock him up.
Yeah.
That's not gonna work. On the other side, Trent McDuffie.
Mm.
Oh, L'Jarius Sneed, All Pro snub. I'm gonna say it again this week.
Yep. Say it
All
again.
Pro snub. He
sure.
should have been first team All Pro. You know, I'm sorry, Deron Bland. I know you had the record pick sixes and the interceptions this season, but L'Jarius Sneed is a shutdown corner. He doesn't get the picks like Bland does. He just don't throw to his side type.
Right.
And so on the other side, Trent McDuffie, an underrated part of the defense is Justin Reed, the safety. He is
very good. Yeah.
He's incredible. And you may hear his name once a game, but he does the right things all the time. And, to go alongside Chris Jones, the best DT in the game besides Aaron Donald. And so if you have those 4 guys, the other 7 can hone in on the run.
Yep.
And they're going to need to stop the run against this team. And they're going to need to stop the jet sweeps with Debo, the screens with Debo and Christian. And those 3 guys will allow that to happen, because you got to take away Kittle, you got to take away Debo, and you got to take away Ayuk. And so, if Jawan Jennings wants to, win Super Bowl MVP, and if that's how the 49ers win, then hands up, by all means. If that's how you want to beat us, then congratulations, you got us, because we're not relying on him as a Chiefs defense to beat us. It's not gonna happen. And so that's my first key. Second key, Patrick Mahomes. Enough said. Best quarterback in the league, and we've seen it in the playoffs. He doesn't turn the ball over. He knows how to, and there was one key play in the AFC Championship game where he had an opportunity to throw it to the wide receiver, but he threw it away. Why? Because he didn't want it to get picked. If there's ever a quarterback, and I said this, that's the difference between Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott. You have to throw the ball away sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, you can't put it into an area where it could be picked off. Mm-hmm. Whether it means your completion percentage drops, your quarterback rating drops.
Right.
You can't force it. And you can't force it to a wide receiver. You can't force it to a spot. Throw it away. Mm-hmm. And Patrick Mahomes does that. He's such a smart quarterback. And this is we've seen it before, and so he's not going to turn the ball over. And that's my second. So my third is the Chiefs know how to play against the 49ers. And according to StatMuse, we look at the 3 previous games that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have played against the 49ers. 2018, Patty's rookie year, 24 for 38, 314 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. The Chiefs win 38-27. Now, granted, both of these teams are different.
Yeah.
You got Tyreek Hill, you got Jimmy Garoppolo. These are players that are not going to be involved with this game in this Super Bowl. So, there are pieces that are in and out on both. So I just want to preface that. before reading off these stats in these games. But 38-27 Chiefs, 2020 Super Bowl, 31-20. I'm sorry, 38-27. I think I said 38-20. But 31-20. Patrick Mahomes, 26 for 42, 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. But the Chiefs scored 21 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win the game.
Wow.
2022. Chiefs, 44-23. This was just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So most of the pieces on the 49ers defense are there. You don't have Christian McCaffrey, but the Chiefs defense is the same. Keep that in mind. For the most part. Down 10 in the first quarter, the Chiefs went on a 44-13 run. That sounds like a basketball type run.
It does.
An NBA type 44-13 to win 44-23. Patrick Mahomes, 25 for 34, 423 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. They know how to play against this defense.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's different now from these teams that I've mentioned, these Chiefs teams, to now? The defense, the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense is much better.
Much better.
And the run game. The Chiefs will not abandon the run like the Lions did.
Right.
They won't do it. Because, to be honest, the 49ers, one of their weaknesses is their run game defense. We know I was about to say Kurt Warner. We know Fred Warner,
yeah,
and Dre Greenlaw are 2 very amazing linebackers that can cover. And so the run game is going to be very, very important in this game. And so, you know, they're going to do more jet sweeps because they're not going to abandon that part of the run game either. Because do you think if the Chiefs scored on a 42-yard jet sweep that they was going to stop doing it?
No.
Not at all. If you score on a jet sweep, you keep doing it. That's what I'm saying. Like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You gotta maintain what you do well and what they don't do well. You gotta keep that going. And so I just feel like the Chiefs are so very smart in their coaching and game planning. They know what they're gonna do. And I think they know how the 49ers are gonna adjust to, you know, whatever they do. And, you know, I think it's gonna be very important that, you know, the Chiefs maintain that run. And so my dark horse, and I'll get your pick in a minute. My dark horse Super Bowl MVP was going to be Pacheco. And I was going to think, you know, maybe over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. I was thinking that, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to Mahomes. I think Mahomes is going to take away the MVP just because, you know, he's the best player on the team, on the field, in my opinion. Yep. And so that's my pick for Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, no, I agree. Those are 3 great keys to the game. And for me, my MVP, if the Chiefs win, definitely it will be Mahomes, even if he doesn't have the best game.
Yeah.
But my X factor is still Rashee Rice. I think Rice is going to have a very good game. But I saw this stat. I want to get your opinion on this. I think Fox Sports posted it the other day. Patrick Mahomes at Allegiant Stadium, which is a stadium in Las Vegas where the Super Bowl is going to be, is 4-0. And he has 1,254 passing yards in those 4 games. Now, I know he's playing against the Raiders. I understand that. But still, I think he seems comfortable there. He seems like, that's a good spot for him to play in. And honestly, that for me, that had something to do with me ultimately picking the Chiefs to win this game.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that?
No, that is, it's very interesting that you brought that up because I forgot about that stat, and now that since you mentioned it, I remember it now. But he's also 11-0 in a dome, and so
Wow.
the conditions and that's according to the first things first. This is where I saw the stat originally, and so 11-0 in a dome, and so whether it's not going to play a factor in this game. And that could help both teams. You know, Brock Purdy didn't play well in the rain against Detroit in the first half,
Yeah,
but the I just feel like he's going to be very very comfortable, and his ability to scramble is going to be key again. You know, it's just so very difficult to game plan against his team. Like I've
yeah,
said before, playing zone. What do you do? You know, he has time to process.
hmm
You play man and you blitz, he has the ability to evade, get out of the pocket, scramble. And so it's going to be very difficult for the 49ers to see. It's going to be interesting to see, but I don't think they'll be able to stop him. In that Super Bowl, they did get 2 picks off of him in
yep,
2020. But he's a better quarterback now. He knows what they're gonna do, and honestly, that last game in 2022 was just crazy. They
it
destroyed,
was.
and I remember the game vividly. I, of course, I was watching because it was a marquee. It was a marquee early game that season, and so he destroyed them, and it was in San Francisco too. He destroyed them, and I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. What they're gonna be able to do against them. I think he's going to put up amazing stats. I do think he's going to move the ball. And I think Pacheco is going to get some touchdowns once they get in the red zone. But it's going to be difficult for the 49ers to game plan and play defense against them.
For sure, it is. I got some team stats here that I want to read off.
Yeah,
And as I was reading this, I guess it came as a surprise, but thinking about it, I'm not really sure why, because the teams are a little bit different in how they operate.
yeah,
But in total yards per game, 49ers have 398, Chiefs average 351. Rushing yards per game, 49ers average 140, Chiefs have 104. Passing yards per game, these are closer, but 49ers have 269, Chiefs have 257. And the first downs per game, 49ers average 22.5, Chiefs have 20. Now, thinking about these stats, you're like, okay, of course the 49ers are going to win. And my pushback against that would be, like we mentioned earlier, the Chiefs is the best defense in the league, but it's not when it comes to giving up yards. It's about getting stops and getting them in the right moments.
right,
Uh, and so, the 49ers are obviously the more explosive team because of Deebo Samuel, McCaffrey, Ayuk, and those boys. But the Chiefs, I think, are going to limit maybe some of those 20, 30-yard runs, 30, 40-yard receptions. I think they're going to
right,
limit all of that, which is going to make the 49ers less explosive, less dangerous on offense. And they're really going to have to work for all the points they get, which is why I'm only giving them 17 this
right.
game.
Which is why,
Um,
again, why I'm giving them 17 too. So yeah,
right, exactly.
16.
So
Sorry.
yeah, 16. So yeah, I think the Chiefs have proven that their defense is good enough to win them games, and so is Mahomes. And unfortunately, I think that combination is gonna beat the 49ers. So
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I'm looking forward to watching the game. I'm looking forward to seeing, all the matchups because this is honestly it's a very star-studded Super Bowl.
oh yeah,
A lot of different players that can make a huge impact on the game, and so it's going to be very fun to watch. Looking forward to it, and so we both got the Chiefs winning it.
yeah.
Let
Let
us
me
know down.
let me
Go
say one
ahead.
more thing, real quick.
Yeah.
For all the people out there that are rooting against the Chiefs for a certain pop artist who may be dating Travis Kelce, don't be upset if they win. Okay, I know we might not all like Taylor Swift and her music. That's fine, but the Chiefs are probably gonna win. Okay, so you know, dry your eyes after the game. Go hug your mom. It'll be all right.
I was trying to go episode. I was trying to go a Chiefs, a Chiefs episode where we both agree. I was trying to go an episode without talking about D Swift, but we couldn't do it. It's all good. It's all
We
good.
tried. Hey, we tried.
Yeah, nah, it's yeah. I'm gonna leave it at that because you can get all your Taylor Swift,
Yeah,
Rig, Chiefs. All you can get that stuff elsewhere. We're
yeah.
not gonna talk about that on the Talking Sports podcast.
Nah,
So, yeah, man, I really enjoyed. I can't wait till next week where we can talk about the game.
for sure.
Um, and get our recap out. It's definitely gonna be great to watch. In the comment section down below, y'all. Thank y'all so much. Let us know who y'all think is gonna win
For sure.
the Super Bowl. There's a poll right now that's out on our channel. You know, hit that post up and let us know on the poll who you think is gonna win the Super Bowl. It's there on our channel in the community section of the channel. And so vote on that poll. Let us know who y'all think is gonna win. Comment your score predictions down below in this video or on the poll. And we're looking forward to talking with you all next time. If you all love talking sports the way we love talking sports, hit us up. Share the video with friends and family. Thank you all so much. We're looking forward to future. Jeremiah, it's the end of the NFL season.
Man,
After this Sunday,
yep.
what are you gonna do about that? What do
Man,
you
I don't know. I've really enjoyed this NFL season more than most, which
Yeah.
is surprising. I don't know. I think NBA is going to shape up to be crazy
Mm-hmm.
in about a month or so. So maybe I get a chance to watch a few more NBA games, but I'm definitely going to miss this NFL season. It was a good one for sure.
Yeah, it really was. And I feel like we're in the midst of a dynasty with the Chiefs right now. And
For sure.
so looking back on what they've done and with this team that they have now, the fact that they're in the Super Bowl is very telling because the defense is young and the offense is inexperienced. And so this should not be the Chiefs should not be here. In other words,
Yeah.
I just feel like it's going to be scary for the teams in the AFC because this was their year. This was their year to get one
Anybody
off
else's
the
year.
Chiefs, and they didn't. They didn't capitalize on it, and so.
Yep.
But again, I feel like the Chiefs, they did a very good job, and honestly, it's the Tyreek Hill trade, and most people will say that that was, not smart to get rid of, one of the best wide receivers in the game, but that you got to be able to stop somebody at some point. and they were able to use the draft capital that they got to get some defensive players. And Trent McDuffie is just amazing. He's an amazing corner, and nobody really thought that he was going to be that after they drafted him. But shout out to Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, and he's always been a great defensive mind. Even back in the days when he was he was a DC for the Giants. And those Super Bowl wins against the Patriots, and so he's been doing his thing for this team, and I think that's going to carry them into a Super Bowl win. And so, that's all I have. But yeah, after this season, we're definitely going to be getting into more NBA talk. We're going to be discussing the NBA trade deadline that happened this past Thursday. So y'all be on the lookout for that. As the NFL season goes on, All-Star Weekend, we're going to be talking about that. So there's going to be a lot more on the channel. This is not just the NFL. It's not just the NFL show.
Yeah.
When we say we love talking sports, like we love talking sports as a whole. And so for those soccer fans, we're going to be talking about Premier League. We're going to be talking about soccer. We're going to be talking about, Team USA and their players, NBA, a little bit of baseball, a little bit of tennis. And, we're still going to be talking about NFL too. We're still going to be talking about off-season, free agency, things of that nature. So just stay locked in with us. We love talking sports, and so we're definitely going to be providing you all some of the best content that's out there on YouTube as far as sports goes. Not just one particular sport, but multiple sports. And so, we're going to be doing our research, and we're going to be bringing you guys with cogent analysis and some of the best sports talk that's out there today. So thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of the Talking Sports Podcast. We love you. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace.